other thing that I wanted to mention, that is, um, if you're in Cali, I always stress being safe. Always stress, situational awareness. You obviously don't want to wear anything flashy or fancy. Keep it very basic, so you won't give the allure that I should be robbed. And there's a saying, if you don't know, it's called no dar papaya. Don't give papaya. Or essentially, what that means is, don't dress flashy and give robbers and thieves the motivation to rob you. So always use situational awareness. Don't just go for just walk anywhere. Know where you're walking. Know where you're going. And last but not least, I always want to emphasize that if you don't know what the area is or where you're going, if you don't know what the club is, if you haven't done any research, it's probably not a good idea to go. And obviously, hopefully you know this, but I'll just emphasize it. If you were to get robbed, don't try to resist and fight and struggle. It's not wise, especially if somebody has a gun, a firearm. If somebody has a firearm, do not, by any means, try to resist, because you could get shot. And if you get shot, then you could obviously die. You can succumb from your injuries, and it's not worth that at all. So the best thing to do is comply. If they want your cash, go ahead and give the cash up. The money, the cash. You can make more money. You can't make another life for yourself. So, um, I teach martial arts. I try to teach people self defense, but the best self defense that you can have is, don't put yourself in that situation. Don't resist. If it doesn't feel right, don't go there. Don't do it. Um, and again, let me emphasize one other time. If you were to get robbed, do not resist. It doesn't matter, even if it's a knife. If it's a knife, unless you really, really skilled martial artist and combat fighter, you're probably not going to be able to disarm somebody with a knife, because it's all about timing. You have to know what the right technique. Everything has to be perfect. And if you're not perfect when you're trying to disarm somebody with a knife, you might end up getting cut or slashed. And all it takes is they cut a major artery and you bleed out. So it's very serious. If the person doesn't have a weapon, if somebody tries to rob you and they do not have a weapon and you know how to fight, well, that has to be a judgment call. That has to be a split decision judgment call that you make as to whether you want to try to engage your opponent. When I say engage, I mean fight your opponent off or not. I always say, if you can't fight, the easiest thing to do is give the money, give the cell phone, give your whatever he or she wants. Now, if you can't fight, if you're a boxer, if you're a martial artist, and you can fight, you really, really, really can fight, well, maybe you make the decision to defend yourself and fight them off. That's a split decision you have to make. No one can make that decision but you. But again, I will say, if you cannot fight, if you haven't trained in Gali or Eskrima, like I'm going to be teaching in April, significantly for years, like I have, you don't need to try to disarm somebody with a knife, because it's probably not going to go in your favor. And I would rather see you lose a little bit of money than lose your life or be in the hospital for several weeks or several months, or can't walk and